everybody, good morning, buenos dias y bom dia. I hope that you're enjoying your Thursday and it's almost a weekend. So I hope that you have a very good day today. And I think we are live and I can disconnect the page. So welcome. So if today is your first day, welcome to the class. And also we have a lot of people who normally attend the class. So I hope everybody can enjoy the class. It's a challenge and it's difficult because a lot of people have different levels. A lot of people have different ability with English, and also people are from very different countries with different principal mother languages. So it's a difficult job to try and provide a class for everybody. So I hope you enjoy and I hope that you get a benefit from the class. Okay, so here is my objective. First, the connection with the internet. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we have no problem with the internet and the connection and the technology. I'm working in a small space, so finally I have a small space to work, and hopefully I can continue to work from here. We have 6 people at home and a baby, so the house is very busy. So this is a very good opportunity for me to work again. Also we have a dog, and sometimes he decides to make noise as well, so that's another possibility. So I hope we have no big interruption or distraction. Also, if it's very difficult to understand me, I apologize, and you can see here the notes. If it's difficult for you to understand, I am sorry, and with patience, hopefully everything will improve. Okay, so subtitles are available and captions are available on Facebook. You can select the subtitles and you can select the captions, and they will help you follow with me and they will help you understand me. The majority of the captions are correct, but there are some small errors in the subtitles and the captions, but it is possible. Okay, so hello, if you want to make a comment in the video, you're welcome to say hello and to write in the video, and with the comments that's a possibility also. I can check the comments later. During the class later, it's possible to participate if you want to practice speaking during the class. It's possible we can have a debate or a discussion about a topic, about the pandemic. You're welcome to join the class to participate with speaking, and that is the code and the ID if you want. Okay, so I will leave that there for a minute. Obviously at the moment it's a very difficult time with the pandemic, and everybody has to stay at home, and not possible to travel, not possible to visit friends. A lot of people have lost jobs, so it's a very difficult moment for a lot of people, and it's a very good opportunity for me to try to help and to try to teach at this time English, because maybe you are looking for a new job, maybe you are looking to study with English, maybe you need English very much, and for this reason it's a very good opportunity for me to try to help. Okay, so my objective, exactly, it's to help during the pandemic when people have to stay at home. Exactly, people lost jobs, and I want the class to be free and affordable, because I understand schools are very expensive, I understand teachers are very expensive, and for this reason I want to try and make available the class and teaching for people who cannot pay for a teacher and people who cannot pay for a school. So that's the purpose, that's the intention. With the internet, it's very easy to connect with people in very, very different places, and it's an amazing ability and technology to connect with people to try to help. Okay, yes, for me it's good to know new people at the moment with the pandemic. This initiative is a good opportunity for me to meet and to know new people, so I'm very happy and motivated for this. It's a good idea to share and promote the initiative. So if you have a friend who is interested in learning English, maybe this is a good opportunity for them, and you can tell your friend if you want. So it's a good opportunity to promote and to share. And hopefully I can continue working in this way. So hopefully it's possible to continue in this method, in this way, but probably in the future I will need support from some people, and probably I will need some financial support, and for example a tip or a donation or a small contribution is possible at the end. If you want to make a small contribution, that is possible. Okay, and remember, definitely this is the most important, it's a long process. So really, to learn English is very long, and it's a long process and sometimes difficult process. And if you are familiar with my classes, and if you have attended for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, probably you understand that it's not easy and it takes time, and you need a lot of patience, and you need to work yourself, you need to study, and you need to prepare, because it's a difficult process and it's long. But I want to try and help, but sometimes it's difficult. Okay, so that's important to remember. Your objective, it's very clear. I think your objective is to understand native speakers in social situations, in local situations, in professional situations, in university situations. Your objective is to understand perfectly when people speak, because grammar is possible to study. Listening is important also, but you also want to understand when people speak. Okay, maybe for a job, maybe for your career, maybe English is necessary and it's an objective for you. Also for school or university, perhaps you want English to advance and progress in school, so it's a big objective and very important for you. Okay, and again, it is difficult, it's not easy, but in a little patience, and you need to work yourself, and you need an open mind, and hopefully you can improve a little. Okay, but it's not so easy. Okay, and of course the best economic solution, you want to learn English in the best possible financial way, so the cheapest and the best quality is what you want, and I want to try and help with that as well. Okay, as I said, it's a challenge for me, the class, because people from different countries, you have a different language, you're from a different place, so the class is difficult to combine everybody, different levels, but I hope and I think everybody can learn a little from the class, I'm sure. Okay, yeah, and again, every day is a little different, so every class is a little different, but at the same time I try to keep a connection with the classes, I try to keep a continuity with the classes, but at the same time it's possible to join at any moment and you can understand and participate in the class. Okay, we have people from Brazil, we have people from Indonesia, Hungary, Romania, France, Spain, Vietnam, Thailand, Georgia, Tanzania, Sweden. We have all these places: Bulgaria, Italy, Germany, Holland, Peru, Bolivia and Colombia. So it's absolutely amazing and incredible that you can connect today from these places. And if you want to say hello with a comment from your place, that's perfect. Also a picture, if you want to take a picture of the class in Peru or a picture of the class in Bolivia and send the picture to the group, that's a very good idea and very interesting as well. Okay, if you have a question during the class, you can make a question in the comment section. You can write a comment if you have a question about grammar or just in general, that's possible. And that's it. Also social media. Okay, so I have the social media accounts, so it's possible on Instagram. I have some pictures on Instagram. Twitter, I have a Twitter account, and YouTube, I have the YouTube account. The content is very similar from the Facebook page, but if you want to connect and share and participate and interact, it's a possibility. Okay, so I'll close the code here for the moment, and finally this is the introduction and the agenda. So the plan for the class, the agenda for today's class is here. First, we have a little introduction in relation to grammar. Every day we have a grammar introduction, and it's very important to explain the technical vocabulary and the technical grammar concepts, because it's the structure that's necessary for you to learn the language. For example, French has a structure, Japanese has a structure, Bulgarian has a structure. Every language has a structure, and in my opinion, it's very important you understand your own structure in your own language, and this is a very good way to compare the structure in English. But today I want to introduce the English structure and to explain some technical vocabulary and some technical concepts, because during the class I mention and I speak about the technical vocabulary. For example, phrasal verb, substantive, adjective, adverb, modal verb, past perfect, present continuous. You need to understand the concepts very, very well to improve English, okay? And that's the reason for the introduction at the beginning. So that is first for maybe 5 minutes. After the introduction, I have the book. So this is the book from yesterday, and it's a book based in Dublin, and it's a little old, but it's very interesting vocabulary. And today I will continue with the book with more pages to analyze the vocabulary. Okay, so that's one plan. Also, after the book we have a video, so there's possibility of a video from a series in Ireland, and to analyze the vocabulary and to try to practice your listening. That is possible as well. And I have an idea, a different idea for today. We have some exercises from grammar to practice some exercises together, particularly in relation to the present perfect. Okay, so that's my idea for 5 minutes today. We can do some exercises in relation to the present perfect. Okay, the website is the British Council website, and it's a very good website for grammar, and I recommend it, and I will show you now in a few minutes. Okay, again, speaking, it's possible to participate in the class to practice your speaking if you want to join, and I can give you some questions and to ask you about yourself. It's a very good opportunity to practice your speaking. So I hope today we can find somebody who is brave and enthusiastic to practice their speaking, because it's a good opportunity to help and show other people the corrections. Okay, so that's more or less the plan for today. We have a list of phrasal verbs and a list of idioms as well, but we will do that later. Okay, so again, that's the meeting, that's the code if you want to join. Okay, super. So here are my notes, and during the class I can write some comments and some notes here. So I will close this, and this document is, first I will share my screen so you can see everything. 1 minute and it will connect here. Okay, perfect. So here is my picture, and again, hopefully we have no problems with the technology. Okay, so first, difficulty with the Zoom at the moment. 1 moment. Yeah, I think it's a little bit slow, but we can continue because this is the first part, in my opinion. The use of English is very, very important. The use of English is a... Okay, 1 moment. I think we've had a problem with Zoom. Normally it's very, very good, and now it's just a little bit slow. So give me 1 second. I'll share my screen and I will close it. No, okay, so we still have the problem, but no problem. I'll keep my screen a little bit small and you can see everything. Yes, so the first section for me is very important. The use of English is the first section. The second section are the different tenses or the different times in English. That's the second section that's very important. And the third section is the grammar. Okay, so first, accents. Different accents around the world. 1 moment, and I'll have an idea. I'll try to fix this because it's better to have it fixed, I think, if we want to improve. I don't know. Maybe that's perfect. So I can make this bigger. Yeah, okay, we're working. I think, no. 1 moment, okay, so I'll go back. I'll just continue this way. Yes, so accents. We have different accents in English, and that's a big part to understand the accents. For example, in Ireland, we have many different accents. In England, a lot of different accents. The United States, a lot of different accents. And for me, in Ireland, and probably my accent, there is a little difficulty with the TH. For example, the, this, that, these. In Ireland, and maybe with my pronunciation, it sounds like a D for Dublin, a D for danger, or a D for donut. So the TH, for me, probably has the pronunciation of a D. and phonetically it should be th, this, that, these, those. So you need to be careful with my pronunciation in relation to the th. Also, the u is a possibility for the pronunciation in Dublin. For example, Dublin, butter, bust, bus, must. Sometimes that's very strong pronunciation, and phonetically it should be Dublin, butter, bus. So just be careful with my pronunciation in relation to the u. And also sometimes the o is a bit strong in Dublin and for me. Okay. Phrasal verbs and idioms. So phrasal verb is a concept of a verb with a preposition with a literal significance and possible a completely different significance. And one example is to look up. So look is the verb, preposition is up, and to look up is literal. So you look up in this direction, that's the first significance, but the second significance means to find or to look for information. So I look up your information, I look up your details, I look up your phone number, I search for your phone number. And that's, I think originally it's related to the book. The information is in the book and you look up the book. So you check all the information. So that's one example of a phrasal verb, and we have a lot of phrasal verbs that are so common with friends, with family, in every situation, in movies. Formal, informal, phrasal verbs are a big part of English. Okay, idioms are very important also. Idioms are like expressions, very familiar, very entertaining, very funny expressions, and we use them all the time also. Idioms are a big part to understand English, and I recommend that you focus on idioms and phrasal verbs a lot. Okay, conversation and pronunciation is of course very important. So when you try to improve and practice English, it's a big part to practice pronunciation and speaking. So if you can find somebody to speak English with, this is a very good idea, and I recommend you practice speaking as much as possible. Okay, pronunciation, sometimes in English pronunciation is not phonetic. We have some irregular phonetic pronunciation, and I try during the class to help to identify and to explain some of the issues and some of the points in relation to pronunciation. Okay, the next category are the tenses. So when you speak in Japanese, when you speak in Thai, when you speak in Vietnamese, it's important to remember the concept of the time. Do you speak in the present? Do you speak in the past? Do you speak in the future? Do you speak in the continuous? Do you speak in the perfect? So first you need to understand the structure and the concept of the simple, the continuous and the perfect. Okay, they're the most important in my opinion. The simple is one action that you do in the present simple, I eat. The past simple is one action that's finished and completed in the past, and sometimes in English it's regular and sometimes it's irregular, and we have a lot of irregular verbs in English. For example, the verb to eat. I eat in the present, but I ate in the past. It's irregular. So we have a lot of irregular verbs in the past. The future simple is one action in the future, and the construction is usually will. I will go. Subject, I, you, he, she, we. I will go. I will eat. I will drink. That's normally the structure for the future simple. It's possible a second structure. I am going to eat. I am going to drink. I am going to meet. That's two possibilities for the future simple. The next concept is probably the continuous, the present continuous. One action that you do continuously in the present, and the construction is the subject, the verb to be, and the gerund. The gerund is the ing of the verb. So I am drinking, I am talking, I am eating, I am going. Present continuous. Past continuous is the period in the past that you do the action continuously. Similar construction except the past. I was eating, I was drinking, I was speaking. And then the same idea for the future continuous. The same concept in the future, but the verb I will be eating, I will be drinking. So that's the concept of the continuous and the simple. The next concept is the perfect. We have two or three perfects. We have the present perfect, which is basically one action that started in the past and it's finished, but it's relevant and related, and the consequences are related to the present. So it's finished and it was a period, but it's related to the present. And the construction is the subject, the extra verb have, and the participle. of the verb. So you have the gerund of the verb and you have the participle. The participle is the third column, okay, of the verb, the third column. So present perfect, I have eaten, I have spoken, I have met, okay. So for example, the same sentence I give every morning, I have eaten my breakfast this morning. So it's finished. So I have eaten my breakfast. It was in the past, it's finished, but it is related to the present because now I am not hungry. That's the concept of the present perfect. The next concept is the past perfect, which is a period in the past which is usually before another action in the past simple. So that's the difference between the present perfect and the past perfect. The construction is very similar, but the past perfect is in the past of the verb to have. I had eaten. So I had eaten my breakfast when my friend contacted me. So contacted is the past simple. So that's the concept of the present and past perfect. Okay, I'm going to wait that somebody has to connect. If you want to wait in the room in Zoom, we can connect later and we can practice, okay? So that is the perfect. The next idea is the infinitive. In English, we have the concept of the infinitive, and the infinitive is basically the base of the verb or the foundation of the verb, and it's with to eat, to drink, to go, to have, to be. That is the infinitive. So that concept is very important because during the class I mention and I speak about the infinitive a lot, so it is very important. The conditionals are very heavy and very complicated in the explanation for the theory. In the book, the conditionals and the theory for the conditionals is a little difficult and a little heavy, but in reality, in conversation, it's a little more flexible and a little bit more open and comfortable, okay? Basically, it's connected with if. So the different times, if I go to the shop, I will buy you some chocolate. If I spoke with my friend yesterday, I would have spoken about the football. Okay, so it just connects the different times and also a hypothetical situation. If I win the lottery, I will go to Ibiza. So that is the conditional, and the concept is important. The final concept for me in relation to tenses that is really important is the active and the passive, and I think other verbs or other languages have the concept of the active and the passive. So the active is the subject, the verb and the object. That's the active. I drink coffee, okay? And then the passive, the coffee, extra verb to be, is, so the coffee is participle drunk by me. So that's just an interesting concept to consider, the active and the passive. It's a little more advanced, but it is very impressive and very good, particularly in exams or if you want to advance to a higher level. Okay, so that's the reason I identify it. Okay, good. So the next category are for just other grammar concepts that are very important. For example, a noun and a substantive. What is a noun and what is a substantive? Basically, it's almost everything. My hand, substantive. Jacket, substantive. Page, coat. Car, cat, substantive. Basically, it's a person, a place or a thing is a substantive or a noun, and every noun or every substantive requires and needs an article. Do we have a definite article or an indefinite article? And here you can see the two articles. I'll just move my picture a little. We have a and we also have the, but the rule, there is one rule and one exception when the noun begins with a vowel. So here we have the vowel a, apple. So generally when the noun begins with a vowel, it's necessary an. Okay, the other two are a house or the house, and the pronunciation is possible a house or a house, a or a. For me, they're very frequent, the two pronunciations. Okay, so that's the concept of the substantive and the article. Every substantive, it's possible to have an adjective. So an adjective basically describes the substantive, okay? And the position of the adjective in English is very important. So in English, the adjective is before the noun. In Spanish, in Portuguese, it's different. The position of the adjective is after the noun in Spanish and after the noun in Portuguese. But in English, the adjective is before the noun. For example, house, big house, car, red car, okay? So that concept is very important. every day when you are working, when you are walking on the street, you should try to identify objects and think of possible adjectives to connect. It's a good activity. Okay, the adverb is also important, and basically the job of the adverb is to describe or to complement the verb to run, the verb to drink. The adverb, I run quickly, I drink slowly. Okay, and normally the adverb has the ending ly. So normally the adverb is ly, quickly, slowly, rapidly, happily. That's describing the verb. Okay, it's complement for the verb. That's the adverb. Okay, the modal verbs. So in English we have a category of verbs called modal verbs, and these are very important and very frequent. So I'll just make it a little bit bigger so you can see. And the modal verb, for example, can, could, may, might, shall, should, ought to, must, have to, will or would. They are the majority of the modal verbs. And basically can is in the use of ability. So your ability, I can sing, I can sing very well, it's my ability. I can play the piano, I can run a marathon, it's my ability, number one. Could, may and might are very, very similar, and they're for possibility. I could go to the cinema, it's an option, it's a possibility. I might go to the cinema, it's a possibility, it's an option. I may go to the cinema, possibility, an option. May and might are probably a little more polite and a little more formal. That's probably the only difference between could, may and might. Okay, but they're very similar, and the three of them are almost the same. Shall is more formal, a little more formal, and a little but it is important to remember. Should is typical for advice, the situation for advice and recommendation. Normally we use the verb should. You should speak to your friend. You should watch this movie. It's my recommendation and my advice. Should. Okay. Ought to is practically the same significance in recommendation and advice. Ought to and should are practically the same. Ought to is a little more polite, a little more formal, and the pronunciation of the G is silent. So the G here, the pronunciation is silent. The pronunciation is ought to. You ought to watch this book. You ought to go to the cinema. You ought to speak to your friend. So the significance is for recommendation and advice. Okay. Must and have to are almost the same, and they are for obligation and no option, no choice. You have the obligation. You must collect the children. You must read this book. You must contact your friend. You have to contact your friend. It's obligation and you have no choice. Okay. The rule, the general important rule after the modal verb, the next verb is the infinitive, to eat, to go, to drink, but it's necessary always after the modal to eliminate to. Okay, so the correct structure: I can go, I could go, I may go, I may drink, I can drink, I might drink. The error: I can to go, I may to go, I might to drink. That's the error with to. So it's necessary to eliminate to after the modal verbs. Okay, and that is important. Prepositions are also a big part in English. We have 150 prepositions approximately, and basically the preposition is related to position and related to movement. So the verb to speak: I speak to you, so it's direction. I speak to you. I walk to the shop, it's direction. So prepositions are very important for direction, movement and position. The ball, the football, is on the table. The ball is under the table. The ball is over the table, below the table, beside the table, in front of the table. We have a lot of prepositions, and I recommend that you are very familiar with the prepositions. Here I'm going to show you a document of prepositions. This is a list of prepositions. It's available on the internet. There are a lot of links. There is a lot of material on the internet in relation to prepositions, and this is just a general list, and it's so important that you consider all the prepositions and you try to understand all the prepositions, because we use them all the time. Okay, so they are prepositions, and so important, particularly in relation to phrasal verbs. So prepositions are combined with the verb to create a phrasal verb. Okay, and usually there is emotion associated with the preposition. For example, up is positive, up is happy, up is creation, down is negative, down is to destroy, and down is sad. So there's always a connection with the emotion and the preposition, and that is important to consider as well. The pronouns, so the difference between the subject pronoun, the object pronoun, the possessive pronoun, and here, for example, my house, so my house, or the house is mine. The difference, you can see my house, number one, or the house is mine, or the third possibility, give the house to me. So the difference between I, my, mine, and me, this is a big area for confusion, and you need to study that area, and you need to be very, very clear. For example, the difference between he and she, him and her, it's so common for the confusion, and so common, such a common error, that you need to be very clear with this area. It's very difficult, but we use these pronouns all the time of English, okay? So it is very, very important. Also, the difference between this, that, these, and those. Here you can see the words. So the first one is singular, this pen, that pen, these pens, or those pens. It depends on the position, and it depends on singularity or plural. This pen, that pen, these pens, and those pens. Also for pronunciation, this is a good example of the possible Irish accent, or possible my accent. So here, the TH phonetically correct should be this, that, these, and those. So the TH is very important, but sometimes for me, my pronunciation in Dublin would be like a D. This, that, these, and those. That's probably a strong Dublin accent in relation to the T and the H. So just to be conscious and to be aware. It's not an error, it's not wrong, it's just different accents, okay? And also you need to be conscious and to be aware of the difference between another, other, the other, and the others. Okay, and another test for me with the TH. So you can hear a lot of D, but phonetically it should be another, other, the other, and the others. But in my pronunciation with the TH is a little strong, perhaps like a D. So basically, another is for singular. Another day, another week, another year, another person, singular. And other is for plural. Other weeks, other days, other years, other people. That's the basic difference between another and other, and it's important because it is a common error. Okay, the other, if you have a choice or a selection of two things, do you want this coffee or do you want the other coffee? So the other is possible for a second choice. So do you want this movie or the other movie? Very important. And the final example is the group of people, the others. Do you want to go to the cinema with us or do you want to go to the cinema with the others, the group? Okay, so it is important. Suffixes and prefixes, in my opinion, and this is a tip and a little help and a little secret, that prefixes and suffixes are a very important area to prepare and to study English. They are a big secret, and to analyze the prefix and to analyze the suffix will help you identify the family of the verb. Is it a verb? Is it an adjective? Is it a noun? Is it an adverb? The prefix and the suffix is a big indicator for the structure of the word. Okay? For example, suffix ance is probably substantive, the importance. Okay, ize is probably the verb, to realize. Able is probably adjective, incredible, imaginable, and ly is adverb. So it's a very important area, basically. Okay, so that is sufficient for today. Also, writing is a very important skill and ability, and if you want to practice some writing, you can send me some writing and I can correct your writing and I can show the corrections to everybody. For me, that's a very good exercise and it's a possibility. Exam preparation is possible as well. The Cambridge exams and the IELTS exams are very. I will save, and now I want to show you some exercises. So we have been studying for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and now I want you to have a little exam or a little test and to see how you do with the exercises. This is the website. It's the British Council website for grammar. It's excellent. So I'll go to the top and show you. It's the website for British Council, intermediate to upper intermediate. And today I just want to test a little with the present perfect. So you remember the present perfect. Okay, and here we go. The present perfect I think is here. There's the past perfect. But I want to look at the present perfect in particular. And you remember the explanation, the difference between the past simple and the present perfect. Just to refresh, the past simple is one action completed in the past, completely finished, the past simple. But the present perfect is one period in the past that's finished, but it's related and relevant to the present. That's the basic instruction that you need to remember in these exercises. So we enter the page, and this page gives a little explanation of the grammar, which is very important. So I totally recommend this page. And also there are exercises available. So here's the first test, because my explanation should be sufficient for the present perfect and the past simple. So here's the first question. That is the worst film, something in my life. So remember, worst is related to bad. The adjective is bad, the comparative is worse, and then the superlative is the worst. Okay, so I'm going to write here in my notes. Bad is the adjective, worse is the comparative, and the superlative is the worst. Okay, so bad, worse than, to compare, and the worst. So here it's the el peor in Espanol. Okay, film. In is the typical preposition in my life. We normally have the preposition in my life is the typical preposition we have. So subject is I. The verb, here we have the past simple, or here we have the present perfect, because remember the construction for the present perfect is the extra verb have and the participle. So what do you think is the correct answer? You can put your comment in the Facebook video. What do you think is the correct answer? Do you think it's the I saw in my life or I have seen? I think the first one is possible and it's understandable. Generally in conversation there's no problem. The two are possible in conversation and they are totally understandable. But technically I think it's better I have seen, because your life is continuing, your life is present, your life is relevant, and that's the reason it's have seen, I think. Okay, that's the first one. The second one, she must be. So she is the subject, must is the modal verb, obligation, so there's no doubt she must. And remember the next verb after the modal is the infinitive, so she must be really tired, and tired is cansado in Espanol. She, subject again, she worked late every night this week, or she has worked late every night this week. Interesting. So the first one is the present simple. I work, you work, she works with the S, so it's the present simple. And the second one is the present perfect, because it started in the past and it continues to be relevant in the present. So what do you think is the correct answer here? And again, if you want to write in the chat, you can give your answer. She works or she has worked. And again, in normality, in real life, the two are very similar and they're both common and they're both understandable in reality. But technically, I think the second answer is better, because this week is continuing, this week is present, and you can see this week. So it's not finished, it's continuing and it's relevant, and for this reason I think it's necessary the present perfect. Okay, the next one, you have got. So you is the subject, this verb is the present perfect, because the verb to get is to obtain and it's irregular to get, and got is the past simple. So the verb is to get and the past is got, irregular. And here you have got, you have obtained a new car. How long, so it's a question, how long something the old one. Did you have the old one? So this is probably the past simple in the question. Did you have, past simple in the question, and the second one is the present perfect in the question. So what do you think? Is it relevant to the present or is it finished? And I think it's probably finished, because now in the present you have the new car and the old car is not relevant to the present. And for this reason I think it's necessary the present perfect. That's my opinion. It's possible I am incorrect, it is possible I am wrong, and if you have your own answer, perfect, but we can check at the end. Okay, sorry, yeah, for the explanation, because it's finished, because the car is not relevant, it's necessary the past simple. So this exercise, this question is the past simple in my opinion, because the car, the old car, is not relevant to the present. Okay. The next example, oh dear is like madre mia. Oh dear is like madre mia or oh my god. Oh dear. Okay. It looks like, is como parecer. It looks like, in Espanol, parecer. Jan is the boy's name or the girl's name. Jan is a name. Shopping, las compras in Espanol. So in English, normally we say to do the shopping is the typical structure. To do the shopping, that's the typical structure. And here, Jan, so we have the time. It's yesterday. We've two clues and two indications for the time. The first indication is yesterday, and the second indication is now. So this is a big secret in relation to the present perfect and the past simple. So yesterday is probably finished. Well, yesterday is definitely finished and it's completed. So for this reason, I think it's necessary the past simple. And now is a separate sentence. So for the first sentence, it's completely finished and it's not relevant really to the present. And I think for that reason, it's necessary the past simple in the negative. Didn't do. Okay. And remember the verb to do, I do, but always the construction of the negative in the past, I didn't. The structure is I did not do, I did not go, I did not eat, I did not meet. The past in the negative is the structure with did not. And that's a rule and that's important here. Okay, so I think that's the correct answer, I hope. Okay, so the subject, they, the verb is to lose. So this verb is very important. Okay, so the verb is to lose, and the past simple is lost, past simple, and the substantive is the loss. Okay, and very important family. So the verb is to lose, the past simple is I lost, and the substantive is their loss. Okay, another adjective is lost. For example, I am lost is the adjective. If I go, for an example, if I go to Tokyo for my first time in Tokyo and I do not know my directions, I do not know my orientation, I am lost. Okay, so here lose is the present. I lose, you lose, he loses, they lose, present simple. The document is the object. Another subject, I. The verb to send with the D, send, and the past is sent, so it's irregular. So here's the past simple. The verb is to send, and the past simple is sent. Okay, so past simple irregular, and here it's the past simple, and that is the object. Okay, so remember the object pronoun and the subject pronoun. The subject pronoun is I, you, he, she, they, ellos in Espanol, and the object pronoun is them. Okay, so I send the documents to them. That's a very good example. Now, so here we have another indicator of the time. It's now, so it's present and it's related to the present. I have to, obligation. I must or have to, modal. I must or have to, subject. Send, them. So here, them are the documents. This is the substitution for the documents, not the people. I have to send the documents, them, all again. Okay, so here, because it's the past, this is a big indicator. Because it's the past, the first one is not possible because it's the present, and it's not possible to have the present and the past really in general in the same sentence. So for this reason, I think it's necessary. They have lost the documents I sent them, I think. Okay, for me the past simple would be appropriate here. They lost the documents would also be appropriate because it's finished, but it is possible as well they have lost because it's relevant, and especially compared to the present simple. So I think the second option is correct. Okay, the subject, she, subject pronoun, I, you, he, she, we, you, they, she, ella in Espanol. Learn is the verb. Okay, so the aprender is the verb to learn. You need to be clear the difference between to learn and to teach. It's a very, very big difference, but it's a typical confusion. Okay, so to learn in Espanol is aprender, and to teach is enseñar. Okay, so you need to be very clear between the two verbs, to learn and to teach. And here, I think you have two possibilities for the past simple in relation to the verb to learn, I think there's two possibilities. You could say she learned with the ed, or she learnt with the t. So it's possible I learned or I learned. And the two are the past simple, but the reason and the explanation is originally in English, the t was the original past simple. To create the past simple originally, normally it's a t. For example, build, built, feel, felt. So the t originally was very important, but after time we introduced the ed and we changed the t to the ed. And in the United States, it's definitely more frequent, the ed. But it is possible with some verbs to use the two, the t and the ed. Okay, so here is the past simple. She learned to swim on holiday. So the typical preposition for holiday is on holiday, and the error, the confusion, is in holidays. It's understandable, but it's a typical error to be in holidays, because normally you are on holidays, to be on holidays. That's important, okay? So it's the preposition, and the year is in 2001, in 2021. So for the year, in, and for the holiday, on, okay? So the indication for the time, it's the past, 1995. It's completely finished. It's definitely finished, okay? And for this reason, it's the past simple and not the present perfect. So this is the past simple because it's completely finished and it's back in 1995, and it is not relevant to a present sentence, okay? So for me, I think it's the first one. I could be wrong, I could be incorrect, but I think it's the past simple for this reason. Okay, so subject I, the verb think, you is the subject, another verb to be, are, you are, my, possessive pronoun, my friend, your friend, his friend, but my, so it's possessive. Oldest is the comparative, so old, older, oldest. Okay, so old, older, oldest. So you are my oldest friend. Okay. Question: how long? And this is very important. Each other. So we have a little rule in English: each other and one another. And I think it's cada uno in Espanol. But for example, at the moment, I am speaking to my friend, and we are speaking to each other. Okay. There's a small technical difference between each other and one another, and it depends on singularity or two people or more. And I think if it's only two people, we are speaking to one another. Okay, we are talking to one another, two people. But technically, if there are more, everyone is speaking to each other. 3 people, 4 people are speaking to each other. That is the general rule, but in use, in reality, they are flexible. And it's not very strict in reality, but you just need to be conscious and to be aware of the two. So how long, how much time do we know each other, the present simple, or have we known each other, the present perfect? Okay, that's an interesting one, and probably some of you are confused with the answer, and probably some of you think the two are possible, because the first one is the present simple. How long? So normally with how long, because it started in the past, how long, we normally have the present perfect. How long have you been waiting? How long have you been here? So from how much time, because it started in the past. So because of the question how long, I think it's necessary the present perfect. So for me, the correct answer is number 2. How long have we known each other? And remember, this is very important, each other. Okay, you know me, I know you. I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. So we're talking to each other. Okay, that is number 7. And the last one, subject. Substantivo, or the noun, is the chance, like the opportunity. You have a good chance, you have a good opportunity. It's the noun or the substantive. Here we have the article, and remember the two articles, the definite article or the indefinite article, a or the, and here it's a or a, so it's the indefinite article. The verb to call and the object pronoun. So again, the difference between the subject pronoun, I, you, he, she, so he, and the object pronoun, him. So I had the opportunity to call him back. And the phrasal verb is to call back, means to return the call. To call back is to return the call. Okay, and here is the present perfect, the present simple. In the present simple, I do not have, because the past I did not have, so the present I do not have, okay? And the second one is the present perfect, because we have the extra auxiliary verb have, had. Okay, so the participle and the present auxiliary, so I haven't had. So the second one is the present perfect, and the first one is the present simple, okay? Yet. So this is the indicator of time. Yet in Espanol is is todavía, or aún, and it's related to the present because it started in the past and you have not had the opportunity yet. So yet is a good indicator for the present perfect. When you have yet at the end of the sentence, the majority of the time it's the present perfect, okay? And for that reason, I think it's the second one, because of yet, okay? So now we can check the answers, and I am sure we have some errors, it's possible, but let's check. Okay, so let's see. And there were 8 questions. Okay, perfect, 8 from 8. I can relax. It was a good morning. Everything is correct. Okay. So that's a very good page, and we can continue on this page because there are more. So there's another explanation and there are second exercise. So maybe it's a good opportunity we can practice the second exercise together. So the first one, I is the subject, lived is the past simple, and have lived is the present perfect in this flat or apartment. And remember this, that, these, those, since. So the difference between since and from: since is for one moment in the past, since 8 o'clock, since yesterday, since last year, one moment, and from is 2 period, 2 times, from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, from yesterday until today. So since and from are very important. I moved here, so it's one moment in the past, okay? Because I think he still, or she still, todavía lives in the apartment, I think it is possible have lived, because she continues to live at the moment. So because it's relevant to the present and because she continues to live now, I think we use the present perfect, okay, in my opinion. The next one, anyone famous when you is the subject, where is the verb, in is the preposition for the city, in New York. So it's a question, and the 2 possibilities for the question, did you see, is the past simple, and the second one is the present perfect. So this is a very good question. So remember, the present perfect is for related to the present and now, but the past simple is finished. So this sentence, probably she was in New York in the past and the trip is finished. Now she's in Spain, or now she's in Ireland. So for this reason, the trip to New York is finished. It was in the past. So I think the question is necessary for the past simple. Okay. So did you see anyone famous when you were past simple in New York? Okay. The next one, remember, on for holiday. I'm on holiday, and again, possessive pronoun, my holiday, your holiday, his holiday, her holiday, our holiday. Okay. So far, this is a very, very important word, and 2 words. So far has the significance until this moment. So in this class, we have studied grammar so far. Far is lejos, but so far means until this moment, and it's very important. So here, it, and remember in English with the weather and in general with the verb, always we need the subject, and if there's no real subject, usually we use it, okay? So it doesn't rain is the present negative. It does not rain, present negative, present simple, and hasn't rained is the present perfect in the negative, okay? And because we have so far, the significance is until this moment. That's a perfect indicator for the present perfect. Remember, yet is also a perfect indicator for the present perfect, and so far is another perfect indicator for the present perfect. So the second example, it has not rained on our holiday. The past simple would be, it did not rain on our holiday last year. It did not rain on our holiday last week. It's finished. But so far has the significance that you continue in the present. Very important. Okay. The next one, she is the subject. Remember, I, you, he, she. Loves is necessary with the S because it's the third person. I love, you love, he loves. Animals, plural. But she, subject. Substantive, or the noun, is the pet. article is a pet, okay, and never had is the past simple. She never had a pet, or she has never had is the present perfect. So I think the verb love is related to the present because she continues to love. It's the present simple, so it's relevant to the present. She continues to love, and for this reason I think it's necessary. She has loved, never had, in my opinion. And it's possible to contract and to eliminate H and A because you have the vowel, okay? So that's important. For example, he is and she is has the possibility of she is or she has, because we have the vowel. I think the reason it's possible is the contraction is possible because the word ends with a vowel, okay? So for my answer, I think it's the present perfect. The second one, possessive pronoun again. My house, your house, his house, but laptop, my laptop, your laptop. Working is the gerund. Last week, so it's probably finished. So is the consequence. So is the consequence. I am using is the present continuous. At the moment, I am using the computers, plural, preposition in. Office is the noun or the substantive, and the article the office, okay? So I am using the computers in the office at the moment, the present continuous, until it is fixed, okay? So my laptop has stopped working last week. Very similar, but this is the big indicator for me. Because it's last week, it's finished, and the function to work, the action happened last week, it's totally finished, okay? And for that reason, I think it's necessary stopped. But in reality, in normal conversation, for me, the two are possible. It's possible to hear the two examples in reality in normal conversation. But I think technically correct is probably the first one. Okay. Okay. We is the subject. Nosotros in Espanol. So a is the article. The substantive or the noun is the coffee shop. So a coffee shop. Great and new are adjectives. Two adjectives. Near is the preposition, like cerca in Espanol, near, close, nearby. Remember yesterday the explanation, near, close, nearby, near to. They're the four possibilities for the preposition. And here I will write as well, close, nearby, near to, or close to. Okay, and that's the significance here. And here the flat is another substantive or another noun, the flat or the apartment, and the possessive pronoun, my flat, your flat, our flat, possession. Okay, so it's possible the present perfect, or sorry, the present simple we just discovered, or the present perfect we have just discovered. So because discover, it's always in the past. The action to discover, I think generally is normally in the past, because you find in the past, okay? And for this reason, I think it's two possibilities, the past simple or the present perfect. But because the options there is no past simple, for this reason, I think the answer is the second one. We have just discovered is the present perfect, okay? So we have just discovered a new coffee shop. The heating, so here we have the article, so probably substantive. The heating is the substantive, like the temperature in the, like the radiator in the room, the heating. It's the system. The heating is the system. Off is in relation to technology. The technology is on, the computer is on, the television is on, the radio is on, or the radio is off, the technology is off. So on is like functioning, off is not functioning, okay? And it's a question. So do they turn is the present simple, okay? And the second one, have they turned, is the present perfect in the question. And it's really cold. So it's the, I think it's the present, it's really cold in here. Okay, so now at this moment in the present, it is really cold. So the question is, have they turned the heating off? So it's a period in the past that's finished, but it's related to the present. So for me, that's a perfect example of the present perfect. Okay, a little difficult. And the last one, he is the subject. Very and happy are, well, sorry, happy is the adjective, and very is to intensify. Okay, for a few days, un poco días, okay, a few days, a little days, last week. So the time is last week, so probably it's finished, probably it's completed, and it's probably the past simple. Okay, but the linker this week, it's now the next clause or the next sentence is the present. He is the subject. Seems is the verb to seem. And remember, I seem, you seem. The third person, it's necessary the S. Okay, he seems. Okay, so for this reason, I think it's the past simple because it's finished and it's last. So he did not seem very happy. Check. 8 from 8. Okay, you're good students, very good students. Okay, that website is very good. I recommend that you practice that website. Now I want to look at the book a little. So, well, actually, we'll change. Instead of the book, we can maybe practice some speaking. So if you're still waiting in the Zoom, I can now go to the Zoom and connect, and we can practice with some speaking. Okay, so I think I have a little problem with my Zoom, but hopefully there's no big problem. So Poco F2, I'm going to connect with Poco, and hopefully we have no difficulty with the connection and the computer. So hello Poco. I think he's asleep. Yes, he's not listening to the class. There's a bad student. Poco. Oh well, he's connecting the audio. Let me see, maybe hopefully we can connect with him and we can have a conversation. We're just waiting for the audio, and I can show you my screen as well at the moment. I don't know what happened with my Zoom today. No, okay, maybe we have a problem. If somebody wants to join the meeting, if somebody wants to participate and practice some speaking, now is the perfect opportunity. You can see here is the code, okay? And if you are connected to Zoom, maybe on your laptop or your phone, you can join, okay? So unfortunately, I have to remove. Oh, he's ready. Can you? No, good time. Okay. Let's see. I think she just needs to press the button maybe to accept. So hopefully we have a connection. Ah, perfect. Hello, how are you? Oh, 1 second. Audio asked to unmute. Her microphone is muted, so these are the technology issues. If you can hear me, I think your microphone is muted. So if you want to with the microphone, if you can change. Is it pot? Ah, hello. How are you?
Hi.
Hello. I'm happy you.
Hi.
I'm happy you connected. Thank you for connecting.
Thank you for your class. It's very amazing. I'm enjoying your classes so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I think you are from Brazil. So just from your accent, I think maybe you are from Brazil. Can you introduce yourself a little, or tell me where you are from?
Yes, of course. I am from Brazil, as you said. My name is Damari. I lived in Ireland for 10 months.
Okay.
I'm here in Brazil for just 1 month.
Okay.
And I really want to go back again, but I have to wait for all these restrictions to end to go back.
Yes.
And that's it. I'm trying to improve my English as much as I can.
Yes.
In the time I'm here in Brazil.
And how was the travel? Was it complicated to travel during the pandemic? Was it comfortable? Was it uncomfortable?
No, it was okay. No problems at all.
Yeah. Okay. No stress. The stress level was the same as normal.
The stress level?
Yeah, like stress, like anxiety. People are worried. The stress level was normal. No?
It was normal. It was okay.
Good, good. And in Brazil and English, do you think people in Brazil have a good understanding of English from school? Is the teaching and the education of English good in school, or what do you think?
No.
No?
No. Not in school. It's just like verb to be. I am, you are, he, she, it is. It's just like this. If you want to study here, you have to go to a private school.
Yeah.
Like in Ireland, go to a English school to learn.
And
in normal school, you are not able to learn.
So there are no subject, for example, there's no possibility for in school?
No, in
Wow.
school I don't think so.
Okay, so that means probably the majority of people in Brazil are not exposed exposed to English, really.
No.
Okay, that's a pity.
Yeah, that's a pity.
Yeah. And for you, what do you think is the most difficult part to learn English, in your opinion?
The conversation,
Yeah.
as like I'm having now, because I can read, I
Yeah.
can write, not very well, but
Yeah.
I can read and write well. But when I have to speak, I have a lot of difficulty.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I'll just give you...
It's difficult for me, and sometimes when I speak, after I said something, I know, oh, it is wrong.
Yeah.
But I know that it's wrong, but when I'm speaking,
Yeah.
it's difficult for me.
Okay, and do you have the opportunity in Ireland to speak and to practice?
Not too much, because when I arrived in Ireland after 8 days, the lockdown started.
Oh.
Yes, after 8 days.
Yeah.
So my course was online.
Okay.
But just after May, because in the beginning was a little confused because nobody was used to the situation.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they are going to do. So I lost my course.
Oh, really?
Yes, I lost my course. So, and because of the lockdown, I didn't met new people.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a chance to talk and practice my English.
Okay, that's incredible. So the course was cancelled?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and was there no possibility to do the course online?
Not yet. I have to buy another one.
Okay.
If I want to go on with my studies, I have to buy another one.
And for you, why is English so important for you? Is it just a hobby? Is it just an interest? Or is it something more?
I love English. That's it. Just because I love English and I like to travel, so I have to know a little bit of English.
Yeah. Okay.
But I love English.
Good.
I wish one day I could speak not like you, but just
yeah.
a little bit like you.
No, well, at the beginning also, of course, accents, it's possible I have an accent, and I don't know if you understood the explanation, but for example, the accent in Ireland, particularly with the TH and with the U, is particularly strong in Ireland. So for example, yeah, exactly. So that's important. But in relation to the difference between Brazil and Ireland, what do you think is the difference between the two countries in terms of the weather, the city, the life? Do you think it's similar, or what's your impression?
No, starting from the weather.
Yeah.
I love Irish weather.
Okay.
It's cold. I don't like summer. In Brazil, it's hot almost all the year.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. Like yesterday here in São Paulo was 39 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I live in São Paulo, as I told you. Just São Paulo is three times
Yeah.
how do I say, 3 times Ireland.
Oh,
three
yeah.
times bigger,
Yeah, exactly.
Bigger than
Yeah.
bigger than Ireland. The traffic here
Oof.
is terrible. A lot of pollution.
Right.
And I think Ireland, for me, it seems like how do I say, a city out of the town.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So
But
in obviously Dublin is the city, so Dublin it's probably nothing compared to the size of Sao Paulo.
yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
But I like it so much. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Like you say, lovely.
For people,
I like the Dublin accent.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
that's a very good example. For people who are not familiar, that's a pronunciation of Ireland and in Dublin. Phonetically it should be probably lovely, but the accent is lovely, so that's a very good example.
Yes.
And there's obviously a lot of Brazilian people in Ireland, and I think that's fantastic. And do you think it's easy for Brazilians to come to Ireland, or is it more complicated and difficult?
No, I think it's very easy for us to go to Ireland. That's why there are a lot of Brazilians in Ireland,
Yeah.
because Ireland can let us to work and
Yeah.
to study.
Yeah.
So it's very, very. I used to say for my friends that Ireland is like a mother for us.
Very good, great.
Yes.
I think many years ago, I think maybe in the 70s, I think a lot of people from Brazil came many, many years ago. I don't know if you're familiar with that story.
No, I don't.
Okay, I think in the 1970s, I think a lot of people travelled to the west of Ireland. But I don't know if you can see my screen. I just want to help a little with some of the corrections. Are you able to see my screen? Or if you cannot, it doesn't matter. I will try to explain anyway.
It's very small for me. I can see it very clearly.
Okay, so just for the other people that are watching, I just want to identify the little corrections. So I think you said it's a lot of difficult in relation to the travel or the problem with the COVID. Do you remember you said a lot of difficult? It's just an example between the adjective difficult and the substantive difficulty. So because it's a lot, it's necessary the plural as well. So the correct structure would be a lot of difficulties.
Difficulties, okay.
Right, that's just one example. The second example was 10 months. You said you stayed in Ireland for 10 months, but of course it's the plural and it just needs to be 10 months, just because it's plural.
Okay.
Okay, and then stress level was new vocabulary. The stress level is the typical expression in conversation. The stress level is very high or the stress level is very low. And another expression in relation to vocabulary is bad timing. So you travelled to Ireland just 8 days before the coronavirus. So it's possible to say it was bad timing, very unlucky. Okay?
Very unlucky. Very unlucky.
Yes.
Unlucky. Double accent.
Yeah. And then the next one was the difference between confused and confusing. This is a very, very interesting example. So your feeling, your sensation is confused. I feel confused, but the situation or the reality is confusing. It's a very interesting area. The difference between bored, boring, excited, exciting, and the ed and the ing are very different adjectives. So basically your sensation is confused. I feel confused, but the situation, the reality is confusing.
Okay.
It's a common confusion. And the next one is also a common confusion. I think you said something in relation to meet. Maybe can you remember the context? Can you remember the example? You said something about I didn't meet
yes, I
people.
Said something. People, I met people.
Maybe it was people. I cannot remember exactly, but in the rule is the negative. It's necessary the infinitive. So I didn't. So this is a rule. So the present I meet, the past I met, irregular, but in the past negative, it's the infinitive. I didn't meet. I didn't go. I didn't eat. I didn't drink.
Okay. I didn't meet.
Okay. So
I didn't. Yeah, as I said, I met a lot of people, and I didn't meet. A lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. So the correct way is I didn't meet. Okay, that's very, very good. And then one final very important point is let us work. So Ireland, you said let us to work, okay? But the rule, it's irregular rule. After let, the next verb we eliminate the to. Like the modal, the next verb we eliminate to. So for example, you let me communicate. You let me go. That's correct. And the error is you let me to go, you let me to communicate. It's just irregular rule. Okay, brilliant. So I'm delighted that you connected, and it's a brilliant exercise to participate. Do you have any comment on the class, or any way to improve, or what do you enjoy, or have you anything to say about the classes?
The classes are amazing. I'm really enjoying it so much.
Good.
Even if I know a little bit about grammar, all the time we have some doubts about it.
Yes.
So I am really taking. How do I say I just want to say that I'm taking to myself. A lot of information.
Oh, good.
I know it's not right.
No, it's fine.
Little clear for you. But I have a lot of information.
Good.
Even if I know a little bit of grammar, Sometimes I made mistakes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it's excellent. It's excellent for me.
I'm delighted. It's very good, and it's a pity that I do not speak Portuguese. It's a pity. I speak Spanish, and I know there's a lot of similarities, but it's not the same, and it's a pity and unfortunate I cannot speak more Portuguese. I think it would be better to help everybody.
You will. You are going to learn.
Yes.
Now that you are giving classes, there are a lot of Brazilians. You are going to speak. I think in maybe 6 months you are going to speak Portuguese, just like us.
Well,
just like us.
I hope the people can connect, and I hope the people can attend and watch the videos, because it's the intention to try and help people to learn. So I hope they can connect. Okay, well, thank you so much for connecting. My name is Brian, and it was lovely to speak to you.
Brian, it
Yes.
was a pleasure to meet you. I am delighted to speak to you as well.
Fantastic, and have a great day. And I think I can press the button to disconnect the video. But thank you so much for calling.
Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
See you later. Bye bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, I think I can remove that, and perfect. And I hope we can continue with the class. So if people enjoyed, hopefully it was very, very good, and hopefully you're still awake and still watching the class. I think that's probably sufficient for today. I have a little idea to continue with the book, but probably you're very tired, and maybe it's a good idea to have a little break. So again, this is just the next chapter, so maybe tomorrow we can continue with the next chapter from the book. And I'm very happy that the lady participated, because you can see the corrections of the speaking, so it's a very good activity. And if you want, I would be delighted if you connect and we can continue the conversation, because it's very important to practice your speaking. Okay. So I think that's it. Excuse me. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Remember, everything is free. If you want to make a small contribution or a small donation, it will be very good for me. It's possible by Bizum in Spain, or by PayPal is another option if you have €1 and you want to contribute. Of course, if you cannot, don't, because it's for you for free. But if you have and you're able and you want, that's the information for PayPal, or the bank information there as well. Okay, so thank you so much again. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to continuing tomorrow. Okay, thank you. And